Hi, everybody. Hi, Isla. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Nice to see you. How are you?
It's good to see you too. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I am in Colorado as we speak.
Wow, we're in the same time zone.
I know
How does
it's a
that
very rare
happen?
occasion. Yes. And it's been a crazy, crazy couple of weeks. I've been in 4 different time zones in the last 2 weeks. So I'm trying to play catch up with myself.
Yeah. So this is Guy Gossip on the Move. I think you're on brand right now or on theme, one of the two.
Yes, it feels that way. It feels that way. Yeah, I had the honor of being invited to speak at Cambridge out in England, and I hadn't been to England in, I don't know, 30 some years. And I had never been to Cambridge before. Beautiful campus, beautiful
Hmm.
campus. And I had an absolutely wonderful time speaking at an empowering women's gathering.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it was quite something. And you know, I was struggling a little bit because it was post-election, and I started thinking about the effects of what is the impact of this election going to be on the environment, right?
Yeah.
So that was some of the stuff that I spoke about. And then fast forward a couple of days later, I was in DC, and I was supposed to only go and support friends, including one of our partners, Morris Beagle from NOCO. I was only going to go and support folks at the National Indigenous Cannabis Policy Summit.
Okay.
And I walked in the door, and Mary Jane Oatman, who is one of the co-founders, said, "I'm so glad you're here. Can you speak?"
Oh
Evidently,
yeah.
they had someone who wasn't able to make it. And so I had an opportunity to um, try to formulate a few sentences at that summit.
I know you. I'm positive that it was really great. You have so much knowledge and presence, and your heart is so powerful that I have yet to see, even when you were incredibly unprepared, to see you be anything other than powerfully inspirational. So that's fantastic.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the kind words. I did have to laugh at one point. Rob Pero, he's the other co-founder for the Cannabis Policy Summit. Um, he asked me a question, and I started answering, and I completely lost my train of thought, and I had to apologize to the audience. I'm like, I am completely on jet lag.
That's you
So
have to say that because they might think you're on cannabis.
there you go.
Like,
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
they're like,
And I'm
no,
trying
no,
to
no.
defend for humanity, not marijuana. Uh, yeah. So, but it was a wonderful, wonderful gathering. It was a powerful gathering. There were so many
Mm,
different tribes represented. I There was even someone there from my mother's own people, the Eastern Band Cherokee people. There's so much happening in the cannabis industry, and we're looking at cannabis. It's hemp and marijuana. We're looking at all of this. It's under the cannabis. It's under the one plant, right?
mhm.
And we really need to address things that way. Um, and there's just so much happening with tribes and individuals from the indigenous community.
Yeah.
And it's not just representing the North American population. So it was a wonderfully put together event, and I'm really grateful. And Mary Jane Oatman, she's a powerhouse. She's an
Yeah, I
absolute power.
really appreciate her. I met her a few years ago at NOCO with you, and just over
Right.
the years, have really become quite a fan and really excited about the different ways that we've talked about partnering with her. So I
Mhm.
didn't know that was her event. That's really neat that you were able to
Yeah,
go participate.
yeah.
So, some other fun things we're doing. We're bringing
Yes.
we're revamping Gaia Gossip. So the Gaia Gossip on the Move will be similar to the way that it is because Maren is the inspiration and the motivator around those stories.
Right.
We don't want to mess with what's working. However, our general Gaia Gossip, we're gonna revamp it a little bit. We have a new theme, our set of themes we're going to be working on. So we're going to tease you with that because we don't want to give you too much information until we're a little bit more solid on it. And we're actively looking for land.
We are actively looking for land, and that's part of the reason why I'm here in Colorado. We have hit at that point, her many voices, where we're ready to expand. We're ready to start truly building our foundation, and we need property in order to do that. So I have been looking in the Boulder County, Larimer County area in Colorado. And I have to say, it's a challenge. It truly is a challenge because the laws are set up in a way, they're designed for specific people, and other people are not welcome to the party.
Yeah.
And Indigenous peoples in particular are having issue in trying to acquire. And so you hear a great deal these days about land back. And, so we are looking, if there is someone out there who has a generous spirit and has an understanding of our connectedness and what's needed in this world, and has a respect for Indigenous wisdom, and you have the land to give, or you have the financial resources to help in acquiring this land, please reach out to us, because we are definitely working with open arms around that at this point. And but if we have to put down the dollars and do it the other way, we will do that. It just has an impact on all of the work that we're doing. We want to make sure that our resources are set in certain ways.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about these developments and the connections you're making. And if anybody's listening, please reach out if you have some ideas, thoughts, or connections you want to share with us at hermanyvoices.org, Alicia Fall, or Aisla Lewis. Probably want to spell her name. That's the safest way to do it. But if it gets to me for somehow, I'll get it to her.
And I'm reading, we just got a note, this is from Mohammed. And he says, appreciations to Maren for the work done.
Nice.
We've got some things coming up.
We do. And one of the things that, you've been working on since you started Harmony of Voices, and that for the last 6.5 years, I've been working to help you with, is ways to kind of share what we're up to, who we are, to help people understand the story of Harmony Voices and this broader picture that we're part of, that for us, it's very interconnected and it seems quite intuitive, but occasionally people are like, I'm a little overwhelmed. So with that, we have a new video that we'd like to share with folks to get some sense of a little bit more of the heart of who we are and what we're up to.
Let's go to that video.
We need to sit. We need to listen. Stories connect us. Stories, to me, bring us closer together. It gives us a point of recognition that even if we think differently, even if we operate differently, we can come to one place of common ground. That's what stories do for me. My name is Alicia Fall. I am the founder and vision holder of Her Many Voices Foundation.
Well, we're an organization that provides practical education to women and children for the benefit of Mother Earth. So that kind of says it all. But the things that we really focused on is that education piece. And outside of that, how do we empower the individuals that's getting this information? So we are trying to always connect the three in everything that we do. Education to empower, and its focus on saving the environment. One of the things that I'm most proud of with Her Many Voices is the Indigenomics program. I think that's the one variable, the one program we can adapt that can really close the gap between those who have and those who have not. And so Indigenomics is focused on doing exactly that.
Seeing all the intergenerational communal power that also comes from the resilience of women. I find it really beautiful that as I'm healing, my family's healing, my mom's healing, and I see Her Many Voices have that same impact. As one woman is healing, she's going off and then healing more of her community. So I've been able to do that in my own story through my work with Her Many Voices. And it's just been an honor and a gift to be able to be my full authentic self.
One of the things that we do is we bridge the gap in resources between Indigenous people and communities and sort of the general public in different ways. And something unique, and because I think Alicia is Indigenous, she starts with listening. So she doesn't go into community with the idea that she knows what community needs. She goes in with the understanding they've said they have needs, and then she listens to say, okay, those are the needs you have, and these are the resources I'm connected to. Let me bridge that gap. And so it's really about a sense of deep integrity, and dignity as part of it. And that's where the interconnected piece comes in so importantly to me, because charity is not always, in my opinion, as dignified for both the recipient and the enactor, because it creates a sense of division and otherness. Whereas the work that she does, being Indigenous and integrated, is very much a sense of community, even when there is that bridge between resources.
I'm proud of all of our programs, but the Indigenous permaculture really reaches into my heart, because we get to go into community and work with Native youth. We work with people who are interested in planting, addressing agricultural needs in a traditional way. It is an Indigenous wisdom for modern challenges.
So education is one of our core roots for Her Many Voices, and we have many education programs. One that I'm most excited to talk about right now is Gaia Gossip, which is an online education program and podcast that talks about climate solutions and tech solutions to the climate crisis and brings forward Indigenous wisdom and knowledge to that same topic.
Humanity is feeling very challenged. The answer to it is to come together. Community is key. Absolutely key.
Please join us. You can learn more at hermanyvoices.org.
I'm tearing up watching that. Hello, Victoria.
Hi.
I'm glad you are joining us at this moment. Everybody, this video was really, Victoria and Isla really pushed to put this together. And we worked with the wonderful Holly Morrison. She's our videographer. And I have to say, you know, for all the years, I have these things in my head. And when I would talk about it, people would get confused because it seemed like it was scattered. Alicia, you need to focus in pick one thing. And I would say, I don't know how to do that. Everything is interconnected. And I need to be able to express it in a way that people get what's going on in here. And I have to say, between the two of you, I feel like we're making that possible. So thank you both very much.
Yes.
Truly our pleasure.
Yes, it's an honor. And of course, sometimes when I describe what I do, getting in Alicia Fall's brain is, a challenge in itself, but really wonderful threads and ideas that you have and how to make the world a better place and how to bring connection, community, healing for Mother Earth and all her children, but also with that specialized lens for women and children, because I think of the inherent Indigenous wisdom in that, post-election, seeing some people putting out, I don't want a president, I want an Indigenous Council of Grandmothers, really shows that desire for that matrilineal kind of guidance. And that's so much what Her Many Voices does. And it was an honor to put together a video that shows that you feel that connection.
And for those of you who don't know, Victoria is our marketing person. Wait a minute, you have a new title.
Creative director.
Creative director. Yes. Yes.
I'm moving up in the world, and I'm super grateful to kind of move into the space of creative directing. And it does feel like that space of, my people who are known for our weaving and the spider web of all the beautiful threads. And to the outside, it can look, it's not perfect, right? A web is not perfect, but all of the threads connect and they build something strong and functional. And that's how I just kind of view this role in this space. And what I like to do is be the story weaver. And it's an honor to share Her Many Voices story, because we've got a lot of great stories.
Well, and I just want to say that I love this video. It's beautiful. It's 4 minutes, and it's hours and hours and hours of thoughtfulness and engagement and back and forth. And really, until you're involved in a project like that, I think it's not really clear the scope of input that goes in to create something. And so I just really appreciate Alicia for all the retakes and Victoria for the massive amount of looking for pictures, because it's been something for a while that Alicia and I have talked about. And like she said, it seems obvious that things are interconnected, but the reality is that it's hard for people to see the specifics unless you actually can show them a pathway. And Victoria just did such a good job with that. So
Yeah, and
really,
I was fortunate enough that Holly, who is our videographer and a photographer, she happens to live next door to me, and for all of this time and talking to her about all of that we're doing, she was still on the overwhelmed. I'm trying to put it all together in my head so I can create something that people can relate to.
yeah.
And I think she did a fine job. She traveled with us, and between her and you, Victoria, in particular, I think the message is there.
Yeah. And Holly was such a joy to work with, and giving shout outs and praises to her work, because when you work in creative collaboration and you move to a space of where people can creatively shine their gifts, sometimes I like to view it as like we're all stars, and sometimes our creative culture that we've been sold in capitalist society is that it's a competition, and it's not a competition. It's about that we're all stars in this beautiful, big, bright space of cosmos. And so working with Holly really did feel like we both got to shine in our brilliance and create, and you see the output, you see the beauty in that. And Holly is just, she had the eye, like she knew what the shots needed to be like, and it was just a joy to work. And then shout out to Isla for backstage ness there, where at times, like the fire, y'all, we made that. We made a fire. And Isla was very diligent. Like she's helping dig a pit so that we could come up. The shot is like, we need this. And Isla was really great in seeing it happen.
You were all you did a wonderful job at staging the beginning of the storytelling, right? You staged the story. And I thought everyone did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And speaking of the storytelling, Maren is definitely Gaia gossip on the move at this point.
She is.
Yeah. And, you guys, if you've been following us, you've seen Maren everywhere, from where she was in
Morocco,
Turkey. Yeah, she's been all over the planet, and she's traveling as we speak. But today we have a wonderful, wonderful interview with Tota from Iceland. I had the privilege of going to the Icelandic conference, the hemp conference this year. It was the second or third conference for her. At any rate, Maren was there as well, and she spent time with Tota, and she was able to dive deep with her. So I think it's time we have Tota and Maren come into the picture.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the On the Move podcast. You're seeing a new setup today because my live guest is not just live online with me, but my live guest is actually sitting live next to me. This is real. So welcome to everybody, and welcome, Tota. I'll do a quick introduction. We're on the ground in Iceland this time for the 4th episode, and there is a very good reason why we're doing this in-person live together. Tota has just organized the 2nd Icelandic Hemp Conference, which the first one took place in 2019, and I was lucky enough to experience that one as well. And the second one was quite amazing. We had one day on hemp, we had a second day on cannabis, and afterwards, Tota was so dear to take me on a pretty big rerun of the island, and we went to a complete northern outpost to the northwest, to the Westfjords, and saw something that I truly have not seen before, an indoor CBD and hemp production. And in case you might be wondering, why is that indoor? It's indoor because we were literally going to the end of the world. We were driving 6 hours, going around thousands of fjords, and we decided this is the end of the world. Huge glacier and a really wild sea. We went to Flatterey, and we'll be talking about this for a little bit. And there's another thing that actually happened while we were here together. On the weekend of the conference, something pretty remarkable happened. The Icelandic parliament was taken down. So, Tota, I'm super curious to see in our conversation how this actually might change the whole conversation and the whole standing of the hemp and cannabis plant in this country. Now, I haven't said it. Let me say it again. Tota is one of the most dedicated activists for the plant and the most dedicated to human healing and probably also healing of Mother Earth in the holistic plant approach. So I'm giving a big clap to you. You delivered an amazing conference and it was a pleasure to be here. And let's start our conversation. Hi, Tota.
Hi, Maren. How are you? Yeah.
So let's take ourselves back to last, or actually 2 weekends ago, when the conference happened. You had a part one day on hemp, one day on cannabis. What were your hopes and thoughts to deliver this conference? What did you think this conference could do for the status quo of the plant here?
So I think definitely, the reason we decided to do this conference is that there is a lot of laws changing in different countries. Germany decriminalizing, and so we feel like the era has changed a little bit, and it's easier to talk about it, but it is a big industry and a big opportunity for our country to be part of this. And we've been doing the talk about CBD really since we started in 2019. We decided to go slowly into this and just start to talk about the seed and the CBD, with the non-active material, the THC. So just, to get people to normalize it in a way, try that. And that had gone quite well. But we've noticed, especially after COVID, that we have so many patients on the black market looking for medicine, and there's just too many people calling us, asking for guidance and all that kind of things that, it's just has really changed. So there are a lot of people who want to take, try nature really, or try different things, and people are getting quite, fed with just taking a pill for everything, and so we decided to do this conference, and our target group was really the government, the health department, reduction people, the police, and everybody. We wanted to show them, all the facts of the plant. It's not just about being more greener or more sustainable. It is about that we have a ECS system, and we should be using cannabis in many ways, and not maybe everyone, but many people need it, and that should be an option. And definitely because of the black market and how that is always getting more hardcore, and we need to find a solution on that to be developed into a bigger thing, because we're getting a lot of foreigners to the country now, getting these gangs and Albanians and all kind of people into the country, and that's something new for us. And things are getting very hard and violent, things that we are not used to in Iceland. And so I think definitely we need to really face things just as they are, and we need to do some changes and legalize things and make it more safer for our children in the future.
Yeah, so that's actually amazing. And I think from the speakers you had a very, very great mix of, hemp applications in the industrial sense, cleaning soils. We had a wonderful speaker, or a couple wonderful speakers from America about soil health. But you also had incredibly strong speakers about, health, like cannabis used for human health. Who were our main speakers there?
Lumir Hans from Czech Republic, who's been, doing research on cannabis for 40 years in Israel. He's just, one of the most, I don't think there are many who have done as much research as him and found out how cannabis really works on our body. And it's just mind-blowing what he has done. And, he did this 5 years research on endometriosis. And we have a lot of CBD reactors and the CB1 and CB2 all around that area. So cannabis has been doing really good things for these patients where we do not have any solution really, except very hardcore surgery where you take parts of you, out of you and things like that, that I don't think is a really best solution always. But and then we had, of course, Jasna, who's she's the leading cannabis nurse from Slovenia. We have the Dr. Stuart Titus coming here. He's like the grandfather of CBD from the USA. He's been in the business since 2010. We had Rene, who was he was in the medical cannabis era, and he used to be in the pharmaceutical, industry. So he changed over to the cannabis, and he has really good view of both sides. And he's been working a lot in reduction and these things, how we can use the cannabinoids to reduce our medicines. People do need their medicine, so we're not going to, exclude that or something. But this is more about getting the patient more functional, being more, active and everything. So my goal is always, how can I make that patient more functional so he doesn't have to be that much of a patient?
Yeah.
And, and it's just I think it's a little bit about life coaching, just, show people what you can do yourself. And the weapons have been taking a little bit away from us that we used to have, that being able to heal ourselves a little bit at home at least, but now we just go straight to the doctor and we would get our pill, and we lost all these things of just, mindfulness and breathing and eat the right food and all kind of things that we can be doing. And when you get sick, usually it's an indicator that we need to do some life changes. And that's just not one thing. It's usually some couple of things that we have to change and motivate ourselves to a better health. So I think just, for me, I'm diagnosed with ADHD and had like hyperactive kid, and, always been spiraling and never really was perfect for the system. So it was always a problem for the system. Where should we have her? Oh, she's not good in that or that, or, she can't sit and listen. And, and I think what the system did was just breaking me down instead of trying to find my good, what I'm good at. And there were, of course, many things that I was good at, but still, the education system really broke me down in a way. And when I was 17, 18, I started using cannabis for the first time. And I cried for 2 hours after I had my first smoke. I sat down for the first time, I think, ever in my life, and relaxed. And the tears went down, and I got connected. I realized people were talking around me, and I could start being part of the conversation. I had much more easier way of getting friends and all this, and getting real connections with people. So I had really hard time of really connecting with people when I was younger, because of just too much things happening in my head and running around just doing all kind of stupid things, and I never being bored. It was not like that, but there was no control. So I had hard time sleeping, and it was just a little bit tiring in a way, And so for me, cannabis just really connected me again somehow. Yeah. So I think for that sake, I really loved, appreciate the plant and what it did for me. But the more I looked at it and I studied, and then I saw people using the patients and things like that, it just seemed so amazing things happen. So it's not something that will maybe fix everything, but I've seen it done amazing things for people.
Yeah. And I love how you're sharing your passion and also your healing with so many people here in Iceland. Now, as an outsider to the nation, I can definitely say that having been here for a couple of weeks, this harshness of the weather, and I have to emphasize this, you go through all seasons in one day. You might wake up with snowfall, but then 2 minutes later it's sunny. By the time you've adjusted your clothing to that, you're back to something completely different. Mm-hmm. That can really wear you down. I mean, just, all the active volcanoes, you have a very, very precarious situation. The town of Grindavik that has been completely destroyed, and actually as of today we're having the 21st of October right now where we're doing the recording, and the town of Grindavik has been reopened to its residents now as of today. I mean, there's a lot happening energetically on the island, and I've spoken to a lot of locals that actually do suffer from mental illnesses because to deal with this on this level. Now, I do want to point out, and we are going to show this story in our audio-visual piece that's going to follow our conversation, so we're not going to lose too many beans on it, but something that really fascinated me and goes back to the self-helping was when we were in the Westfjords and we found that indoor growing facility of 2 guys that also run a bar in a town. How many people are living in Flatbury?
260 or something.
260 people and a teeny tiny fjord town that about 5 days at a time just gets completely cut off from anywhere because avalanches shoot over the one street in and they're all stuck in the village. And they're literally supplying a village with CBD for mental and physical well-being, you know, just for old people to fight their rheumatism or their pains, for people who are sick to fight their long-term diseases. It's also an act of self-help. So, Tota, I really want to thank you in the name of all the many people that you have helped in your life already. And I know I've actually met a couple of them. It's pretty incredible what this lady next to me does. So thank you very, very much. And I would say we're ready to go into our audio-visual piece, which will take you a little bit into the conference and then also quite a little bit through the island on our travel. So be ready for some windy experiences. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my God, it's going. Things are really happening and we're just feeling very excited for it. So everybody feels like they're in space when they come to Iceland.
When my mother caught me smoking first when I was like 15, it was not a matter of like you shouldn't smoke. You're just a little bit too young. So there hasn't been stigma around the plant, for me at least. My name is Önundur, you can call me Önni, and this is Vagnin in Flattery. I mean, the history of cannabis here is quite old. It wasn't until like the late 2000s we started seeing wheat. There's always been somebody smoking in Flattery since I can remember myself. And people, and they know this around here. So back in the day before, you know, Telegram and the internet and all that shit, I would get like knocks on the door from people around the fjords. Is there anything to smoke here in Flattery? And there usually was. It changed quite a lot after 9/11 because then the hash production just totally was closed down. When the weed started coming more and more, like in the maybe last 10 years, it's becoming more and more normalized. I kind of had an epiphany. It was 2019, I think. I tried hemp for the first time, the CBD variety, and I mixed a little bit of THC into it. It was all I needed. So like now, daily, I don't smoke THC. It totally changed the way I look at the plant.
In love with that plant for a very long time. So it's just finding the right ratios for you to be able to function. Yeah. And definitely, we just know how much CBD can do for you, even though so many people don't realize it when they're using it. They think that's not doing anything for you, but it's doing a lot for you guys. So you should definitely use it. And it helps you with all the side effects that can come with THC. Yeah. CBD is going to take care of that. So it's very important to build your body up with CBD. It's the inflammation, it's waking up the body to go to the homeostasis. Then you integrate this THC for your pain or your sleep or you need to eat or whatever you're looking for. So I think it's definitely high dose of CBD is always better than having some ratio of THC. Some people don't even need THC. And that's a beautiful thing if you don't need it. But when people need it, they should be able to get it. This is what I did with my outside growing and when I was doing the stems and everything. I gave it to the university, technical school, to the art school and everything, and they all made new developments. And we really want to show the younger people how beautiful the plant is and how many options you have, so they won't have the triggers that our generation has, that this is something dangerous. So I think the best way is integrated into the universities and the schools and show them, because we have had so many, like kids making incense, they've been making plastic, they've been making art, and they've done a lot of just like business plans and all kind of things, and that we are getting called, my hemp association is getting called like all year round from students asking, how can we do this, how can we do that, and really wanted to do something more sustainable. But they are thinking sometimes quite big, and they're like, oh, we just want to do this, plastic bags are hemp and they won't get wet. And I was like, oh, well, I can't tell you how to do that, But they really see but they don't maybe realize we have to figure a lot of things out ourselves, because we haven't done that much research because of all the ban and all the rules and everything. But the opportunity opens when we can really just do all the research we want. Then we will definitely see what the plant can do. Yeah. And there's probably 1,000 more options out there than we really know today.
But now
how far can we go in that grove?
Okay.
And we realized, of course, we are in zone 7. We are not in a European zone, and we should not be getting seed from Europe like we have EU list. We are not. So I'm talking to people in Alaska, North Canada now, even to Siberia, people who are in 7th zone, and we're hoping to do trials next year on stems, grove, and a CBD autoflowers that are taking 55 to 60 days. That would work very well for Iceland. Yes. And do different trials for next summer, and then we would, of course, just apply for a license to be able to get seeds from different zones, because everything that grows in Iceland, and few things that grows in Iceland, are all from Alaska or Canada seeds. So I think we just have to realize it is really outrageous that they have us in the European zone, because there's nothing that is in Europe that grows in Iceland.
Cannabinoids changed my life. I love this tattoo. It's not so beautiful, but I like this tattoo.
And this is what? This is a DNA strand?
Yes.
DNA strand. Yes. Interesting. So obviously your daughter had an advanced form of epilepsy. It was genetically inherited condition, CDKL5.
Yes, CDKL5.
And I don't know if you can depict the actual CDKL5 gene in here, but obviously the gene defective, and that is what's causing all the unfortunate seizure episodes. But it's very interesting how CBD helps to correct that defective gene, and then all of a sudden the seizure episodes started to go down. It was so interesting for you to show us all today the graph where the seizures, when you first got CBD, they were very high, but they started to come down. And then all of a sudden you couldn't get CBD for a couple of months, and the seizures came back up, and then finally you got the approval through the judge, and all you had to do to, my gosh, go through the court process and through the visa.
After his decision, we talked with the judge, and he told for us he make his decision with that picture. That picture of the graphic, he decided allowed Annie to import CBD.
Oh my
because
gosh.
That picture.
How interesting, really.
He looked at this picture and said, my God, it's impossible I say no for this situation. So he allowed Annie to import.
Unbelievable.
Just because that picture.
We're in Reykjavik Head Shop on Ingolstræti 6 in Reykjavik, Iceland. I'm Odin Darri, and I'm one of the co-owners of Reykjavik Head Shop. And yeah, I run this battery with my colleague Bringir. I'm a tattoo artist, own a tattoo shop on Hverfisgata. So yeah, that's my main job. During COVID, the Hemp Association in Iceland was able to push through allowing to grow hemp again in Iceland, basically. So that's kind of what happened then. We were opening the head shop just as a concept store. You know, it was more of a happening, you know, than opening a business. You know, this is more of representing cannabis, cannabis users, and you know, everything around cannabis also, in the right manner for the first time possibly in Iceland.
My name is Brinke. Yeah, we're here at Ingolstræti. We come from the art scene, and we have been using cannabis as a helping tool to uplift the underground and maybe the people who don't get as much recognition as usually, not pop culture, more like underground culture. This house stands for just like what Reykjavik was, what we know Reykjavik as, and what our like older generations tell us what it is. A lot of hardworking people, you know, fishermen people, come of hardworking people, and then we have a lot of artists as well. I would say it's something that probably brought us through the dark winters in the past was art, music, venues, concerts all over, you know, artists just doing their things, pulling out different, traveling maybe abroad, coming back with a whole new idea for what could be new here in Iceland. So it was all very like built on artistic stuff. We come from making wool sweaters, and it's all handcrafted, you know, how we used to live here in, like, I don't know how you call it, torfhús, like grass, mud houses, you know. That's even a sculpture, you know. I mean, we look at this as just an antidote for that, you know. We're not supposed to have this house, you know. We're doing it as a community. We're doing it together. We need the people that are renting upstairs to be the right people. We need the people that are downstairs to be the right people, and that everybody helps to keep the community together. Not everybody going their separate way. That's what we have been using hemp for, like through the head shop. So our passion is art. Our lifestyle is cannabis. So we figured that out after some time of partying and acting like, I mean, there's 50 bars around here. So they're basically telling you, here you're supposed to drink, you know. So we take that away to cannabis, and we use that to just help the art community. Different perspective we're given by having hemp as our friend, you know, like having it normalized. We are just very fortunate to be at this point thinking like this. You know, that's also something we felt at the conference. So to get like professionals here, artists, you know, doctors, teachers, just all in between, you know. And like a funny thing with the interviews I took, like you all had the same point, but from different directions, you know, and there was always the same conclusion, you know. So we're like getting we all had different ideas on how to do it or where to work it from, but the end goal was the same, you know. So that's also very beautiful, and like there's a lot of ways to do everything, but if you just stay honest and stay patient, you can like get the opportunity to do it the right way, and then the privilege that it will lift you up. I mean, I've been saying it, that hemp is the new fish in Iceland.
So this area was selected for the first parliamentary rule in the world, basically, formed here in 930, because we didn't have any king ruling the country, only the 12 chieftains that came together for the parliamentary rule, and it was named Þingvellir because it really means the plains of the parliament, because of what took place here. So it was the assembly of all people who had power, basically, that would determine on things for the entire country once a year at summer solstice.
My name is Jeff Lowenfels. I do as little as I possibly can, and I specialize in napping.
Napping?
That's what you
in
get
the
when
afternoon.
you